Help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or labor rules, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America.
Good evening, America. How y'all doing?
They blew out the pipeline.
Friendly neighborhood bearded weirdo coming out on promise I always do. And with
Yeah, you okay there?
Magnificence upon my
Can you
face.
hear?
I apologize to all the headphone users.
How y'all doing? It is Tuesday, March 28th, and this is take 6,322.
No, it is not. Stop it.
This is take 4. Hopefully this time we have fixed the technical difficulties. Yes, we are trying to be professional about this, but
trying?
every week, stupid programs show us how amateur we are. But we're still gonna have fun. We're still gonna talk about things, and we're still gonna piss people off and do it with a smile on our face. That all being said, to my left, to talk about this topic of bringing back God to law enforcement, is my best friend, my compadre, my brother, and he just happens to be my pastor. It's the way I'm going tonight. I'm probably going to have to go talk to him in the pastor's office. I'm going to be in trouble again.
Probably a guarantee there.
And he is the one, the only, the Pastor Gary Podosek. And then, behind the curtain, you can't see him, but you'll always be able to hear him. He's pushing buttons and making smiles. His name is Steve Cattell. How you doing, brother?
Hello. Let's check the mic and see if it works this time.
I swear, we got here early. We set up early.
We checked
And you did a test, and apparently only one mic was picking everybody up.
One mic worked perfectly. The rest, not so much.
So, hopefully we have fixed this problem, and we're going to be talking about law enforcement.
Yes.
That's right. We're going to be talking about those that drive down the road.
Stop.
All right, I'm sorry.
Stop.
No, I'm sorry. There are really good cops out there. I know some really good cops out there. I also know that just like anything else in life,
cops.
I know that just like anything else in life, just like you have bad baseball players, you have bad teachers, you have bad parents, you also get bad cops. They are not above being wrong.
Seems to be a lot more of them.
Oh, yes, this is true. And to talk about it, something happened yesterday, actually. There was a shooting in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
In a Christian school where 3 children of 9 years of age were killed.
Very sad.
And 3 adults, who I'm only going to assume that because they were working at a Christian school, they were Christians, were critically injured. And who did this? Who did this heinous crime? It was a mega white American.
Woman. A female.
Yeah, she was. Wait, but
whose social media profile
says that she
would like to had put her pronouns as he, him.
So she's a shim?
No.
Better than Z, Zer, Zim.
Well, I mean, look,
what
I'm
about
just saying.
I'm
just saying. No, I'm not. Look, I'm just saying. Again, dead naming is
confused.
No. I'm not confused.
Her pronouns are confused.
Possibly, but dead naming a dead person is exactly what you do because they're dead.
I'd have dead named her if she was alive too, but that's beside the point.
She's dead, and so I don't care about your pronouns.
She's pushing up the daisies.
But anyway, but if you were alive, I still wouldn't care about your pronouns.
Yeah, no. We don't care. God is not a liar. God will not be mocked. He does everything for a reason. So if you were born with a hoo-ha or with a zippity doo-dah, you were supposed to have it.
Look, when you're buried in underground, you're still going to be this one of the two choices. You can make all the ones up you want.
No,
at the end of the day, you're still going to be
there's two choices.
Female.
Well, there's two choices and there's one definity. The two choices are you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell, and the absolute
pretty sure this one.
The absolute definite.
Pretty sure this one's not going upstairs. Just saying.
Well, no, she will, only to get sent downstairs. Remember, you got to read the Bible. It says you'll go up there first, and then
I'm not worried about the deliberation.
Anyway, but the one
final destination's all that matters to me.
The one definitive thing that's going to happen, she's going to be worm food, and couldn't happen to a better person, really. Because it's absolutely horrendous what happened.
Yeah.
Fortunately, and I will say this in big bold letters, fortunately, the cops in this case showed up quickly,
like 12, 14 minutes, somewhere around there.
Handled the situation very quickly
from the incident occurring to her being stopped.
And they stopped her the best way known to man to stop somebody with a gun.
With another gun.
Imagine that. And then immediately we have our great Democratic libtard leaders coming out and saying, ban the big bad guns,
ban the assault rifle or assault weapon. They don't say
assault weapon.
Say assault weapon. Yeah.
Now, again, was it an AR that was used?
So the video footage shows her entering in with 3 firearms on her person, one definitive AR-15, one modified 9mm pistol with a additional grip and stock,
which basically turns it into
which makes it illegal.
Not there.
It doesn't matter even if it
Jersey,
was illegal.
Yes.
Well, even if it was illegal or not illegal, let's not conflate. A person who is going to go kill innocent 9-year-old children in a Christian school is not probably going to be following laws, considering they're about to break one law called murder. They're going to kill somebody. So it doesn't matter if they used an illegal gun or an illegal sword or an illegal crossbow or an illegal nuclear weapon. It doesn't matter what they use. They can crawl in there with a tank. For all it matters, it doesn't matter what they use.
My question is that, and I will, more information will come out, but I can't wait to find out because I'm going to laugh.
And the other gun was just a pistol, a handgun, regular handgun.
Maybe not laugh, but I'm going to straight up guffaw and laugh at Democrats because they love to do we need better background checks. If she got those guns legally through the background checks that are already there, that they themselves have been pushing for years, you've made our case for us at this point.
To be clear, that's probably a likelihood because this person obviously had a manifesto. They had plans. They had intended to do this. This was intentional.
They intended to go to another school and do a shooting. But guess what? Do you know what was at that school that stopped her from doing too much security?
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that. But here's the thing, okay? And I'm not in the business of naming people, so I don't really care what her name is. I do know it, but I'm not.
No, we're not mentioning.
I'm not trying to give this person. I'm not trying to give this person any limelight. They don't deserve it.
No, but that's why we agreed about this the last. Anytime something heinous like this has happened in the past, we agree with a lot of other people that say the same thing. We're not mentioning names because they don't deserve that notoriety.
I don't really want to I can just call her by her because her is sufficient.
Yeah, because she is a her.
A real pronoun with an identifiable gender that you would normally use.
By the way, speaking of this identifier and all this stuff, don't we need to bring up more about mental health? Doesn't this?
Well, so
isn't it not talked about? Well,
yeah, but actually, you're wrong because see, right now, that is exactly what every politician is talking about. Is these two things: one, how guns are evil and bad, and the gun went into a school and it just popped off all randomly and killed these children.
Yep.
And if we don't have guns, this would have never happened. Right. But because the mental health of this person is not being cared for, right, and because good godly school bad, hates trans girl, right? This is what led to the violence. So
And mind
basically
you,
what
they
they're
tried to
saying,
say-
hold on. What they're now saying is the mental health is the fault of, guess who? The church. And the justice is the actual action that happened.
Okay. And here's the big kicker.
So
she
that's not good.
When she was a kid, now mind you, she was 28 years old. The female who did this was 28 years old. She went to this school as a child.
Yeah, she attended.
So that tells me that, at least how I look at it, that if you're a parent and you're sending your kid to a Christian school, you should believe in Christian values. So then my question is
do you think maybe this was not happening at home? Probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, what?
you can't say that. We can't say that.
Not
She
judging.
actually-
It doesn't matter.
Her
at
parents
this
could
point.
probably be Bible-believing radical followers of Jesus
She could
Christ.
have had a falling out when she got into reality.
I will follow that up with then, shouldn't we talk about the real mental health and not what the people are saying the mental health problem is?
Well, that's the problem. Well, see, so here's the thing. What would you say then is the actual mental health issue in this particular case?
Because they're supposed trans.
Okay, so hear me out.
Is
that a mental health problem?
Absolutely.
No.
Or is it a trend?
I mean, yes, it's a trend. Of course, it's a trend, but
So
that means they're still not mentally healthy.
But that's not true. But here's the thing.
I wouldn't even say it's a trend. I wouldn't even say it's a trend. I would say that it's demonically influenced.
Well, hold on. I can agree with that too. But hear me out. This is the bigger point, right? Like when you have all right, so rewind time, right? When we were in school, you went into science class, right? And you had anatomy. And anatomy in there, they taught you about the anatomy of like a frog or a sheep or a rat or whatever.
Pig,
and you learn about all the different parts inside. Okay, and then you go to health class, right? And when you get in health class, you learn about the anatomy of a human being. And you learn about guys having bait and tackle and girls having vaginas, and this is the stuff that you learn about when you're in school. And so it's you learn that, right?
I quote the kindergarten cop. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Right. Okay. When you right, while also when we were in school, right, you had history classes that taught you about the accuracy of what led to the creation of the United States, why these events in history are important, why we do these things to prevent these things from happening, right? Okay, all that means something. When you now have these kids in school who are being taught that gender is not definitive.
It's a social
construct. Your imagination is what makes you. You have a gender unicorn that tells them that they're gay or transsexual or bisexual, but not straight, right? You tell them that they don't need their parents, right, which is the advocate for that child. You then teach them history, how all these other races are better than white people, and all these other people are victimized by white people, and you give them a victimization mindset, right? Then you teach them, see, it's not a mental health issue, it's actually being created.
Yep.
It's being fed, it's being spoon-fed through the education system to make these kids into what we would perceive as a mental issue. It's not a mental issue, it's actually being trained.
And here's the thing.
You're not being trained to have a mental problem.
So they're not so they're being brainwashed.
That is correct.
I get that.
That is correct.
I get that, but that's
they are being
still
brainwashed.
A mental health issue.
No, it's not a mental health issue.
Because you're getting brainwashed. You're not knowing what you're doing.
They're getting brainwashed. That's true. I wouldn't say it's a mental health issue, because what it does is it then conflates mental health issues. Real mental health issues are people who have schizophrenia or psychopathic tendencies or
PTSD from combat.
Right. Or you're talking about people who have suicidal tendencies. Do these people end up with suicidal tendencies? Yes.
Absolutely.
But that's because that's what brainwashing does to the human psyche.
Here's the thing. They need to
when you actually challenge the God-created, God-divine imprint in your head that tells you this is right, and everything in the world's telling you what you know is right in your head is wrong, that will create a mental break.
Yes.
Literally, this is how every dictator in the world controlled their populace.
Yep. And here's the thing: they are basically a cult. They're being brainwashed like a cult, like cult people. It's absolutely absurd. Yeah.
This is not, by the way, this is not the subject matter.
No, this is not the subject.
Just a really good point.
And then,
but the point is that they are right now standing up on their platitudes and they're in their soapboxes in their white offices, getting up there and trying to pillage votes from the voter base. Because they want to play how this is a mental health crisis in America because churches are anti-trans and anti-this, and we need to deal with that, and then that's going to create more problems and violence in churches. Good job by you guys. And then also you're going to turn around and get on your soapboxes and complain about how the assault weapons are the problem and how we need to stop this assault weapon crisis and the gun violence
and
is
how cops
astronomical.
should be the only ones with guns, and
that's how you create a police state.
Did you mention video games this time?
No. That was Columbine.
No.
Have you met them?
Surprisingly, they haven't mentioned the race of the person either. That's odd. Weird.
Yeah. White lady.
A white Karen.
Exactly.
Karen to the nth degree. But getting back to what we were saying about police, and like I said, the police in Tennessee got there quick. They handled the situation quick.
For once. Not like Uvalde.
Yeah, Uvalde. That cluster, you know what.
Yes.
It's... So that's a good thing. That if one good thing can be said, it's that the police in Tennessee were not afraid to go into
went right to the gunfire. Cleared the first floor, heard the gunshots up on the second floor.
They were not
right
afraid
up to the second floor, centralized where the gunshots were at. Opened the door, saw the woman pull the gun out, turned towards them, unloaded the clip. That's what you do, ladies and gentlemen.
They were not afraid.
That's what you do.
They were not afraid to lose their lives.
It's not a fun. By the way, if you watch the body cam footage, I don't recommend it. It's not something you really want to watch. But when you understand that is the job of an actual police officer,
of a real police officer,
not
those fake badge wearing son of guns that want to wear.
The guy who was just on his phone the whole time.
The guy Uvalde, just standing out there.
What about the one? What about the one making sure he had plenty of hand sanitizer on his hand?
I remember that.
And you're seeing two contrasts here, two different contrasts when it comes to law enforcement. You're seeing what happens when you have good cops doing their job, and what happens when you have people who should never be cops thinking they can do a job and failing miserably.
Right.
And I guarantee you that those cops in Tennessee, I you know what? I'm going to go with it. I don't know them personally, but it's a good chance that being that they're in the Bible Belt, that they probably grew up in a church. They probably have somewhat of an understanding of who God is and His sovereignty. They probably have a good healthy
kids.
Probably have kids. They probably got a good healthy fear of God because their parents instilled that into them. If you don't listen to me, we're going behind the woodshed. So
that's not what a healthy fear of God means. Where did you get your healthy fear of God, sir? Do I need to take you behind the woodshed?
You were taught that there's right and wrong. So these cops were probably taught what truly is right and wrong, what is right to do and what is wrong to do. And so they did their job. They did it with the absolute accuracy to be done.
Yep.
And they ended it quickly. Now, it sucks. I wish they could have been there even sooner. That's impossible to happen. Well, you got to pick up the phone. You got to call.
Again, you get a bunch of people out there though that say, well, the preventative measures we could have taken here to stop this from happening.
This is I've said this before in other episode. They came out with this preventative maintenance or measure back in the 90s. It was a magical talisman that they hung in the parking lot.
We're going to go back to here again.
Magical talisman says gun-free school zone. All it does is it paints a couple big red circles that get smaller on the school.
It doesn't work?
No, it doesn't work at all.
What do you mean?
It doesn't work. Not at all. It doesn't stop bullets.
You mean the bad guys don't go and they get to the sign and they go, a gun-free zone? Oh, man! I was so going to go in there and shoot up that school, man.
That's my only weakness. How did they know?
I'm like, look, I got the gun. Look, see, I got the gun. But the sign's right here, man. I can't cross the sign.
All right, I'm just going to put my gun down. I'm going to go back in there.
But wait a minute. It's the free gun zone. I got my gun for free, man. How'd you know that? I didn't pay for it. I stole it. I'm going to go in there and shoot now. Okay, it's cool. It's cool.
It's really what yes, we're making fun of it because that sign is a joke. It doesn't work. Do you know what does work?
No, actually, it does work.
At attracting them.
Exactly. Because they know nobody else is going to have a gun in the area.
No, because
I'm not threatened.
Because of this law that enacted this talisman, because of the law that enacted this talisman, schools aren't allowed to pay for armed security. Now,
they have the cop there.
Now some schools
with a taser.
Now some schools
and some spray
have what's called a student
pepper spray.
I forget what it's called now. Student something officer.
I'm gonna spray some pepper in your eyes. It's gonna make you cry.
But I'll tell you what. You know what does work? There's a school in Florida doing it right now, and they're a Christian school. They have hired a veteran to come to the school armed, to patrol the hallways, to patrol the doors. And the parents at first were sheepish. I've heard the interviews from the parents that at first they didn't know how they felt about it. But then after what happened at Uvalde happened, and they know that they have this guy there, fully capable.
I bet you I know why they had a problem.
Why?
I bet you he wore a red hat.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He actually.
Look, why not?
He was actually.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now. If I know where you're going, all right. I don't want a law enforcement. I don't want a cop there. I don't want a cop protecting the school. No, I want one of the guys from the January 6th riot. I want QAnon shaman at there. I want a MAGA extremist. I want a MAGA extremist there. You want to know why? Because he actually cares about this country and he cares about your kids more than that cop does.
He's just going to bring the podium and just stand out in front of the
with a gun in front of it.
Go try me.
And you go have the American flag and the bear rug on him with the headdress on him. I guarantee you, ain't nobody going to come in there and shoot that school.
Nobody's going in there.
And this is the thing. I've said this.
I mean, you would be the coolest guy on the premises too. Every kid's going to want to take a picture with him every morning, and he's going to be there loving it. And nobody's coming in there with a gun.
And that's the thing. They instituted this guy years ago. They had to fight the school board to get it off.
You're talking about the vet, though.
Yeah, the vet.
Not the MAGA extremist.
Not the MAGA extremist. I mean, he could be. We don't know.
I still think the MAGA extremist guy did a better job.
He, the vet, the military vet, parole. He walks the school hallways.
Is he Lieutenant Dan?
No, because he's got legs.
Got no leg, Lieutenant Dan.
As long as he doesn't got those blades, because that guy went and killed his wife or something. I don't know. Ting, 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 ting. That guy, you remember the guy? Yeah, not that guy. Don't give him those legs. Those legs make you into a murderer. Don't do that. No, I don't want him that. He's actually probably better without the legs. I've seen guys on wheelchairs, man. They got good aim.
And I've said this before. All the money that we've sent to Ukraine, I heard somebody say once before, back when we gave the initial $40 billion to the Ukraine, that if we divided it up to all the schools in the country, we'd be able to give each school $400,000. With that $400,000 a year, it would be very easy for them to hire 1, 2, maybe 3, depending on the size of the school, 3, some military vets who are retired, who probably need a job with this economy, and would be glad to continue to serve their country, making sure that every day students were able to learn truth, not the garbage that other teachers are teaching, but learn truth, be safe, and go home safe. They would love to serve their country doing that. Yeah, but no, let's just send it to the Ukraine where he can PP our money away.
Wait. How much per school would they get?
400,000.
You can have a sniper at every school for $400,000.
I don't know about that, but seriously though. But
seriously, you can absolutely.
You did your taxes though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I did my taxes,
yes.
And I found out I owe the Ukraine $6,473. Did you get the same thing? That's what I got. Did you get a return?
I got a return.
You suck. See, that's why you gotta have kids.
You guys do your taxes?
Good thing you're facing on here. They don't know who you are. But
so what's your social security number? 153.
Is it 8675
111
2222?
Is it 8675309? Is that your?
That's not enough numbers.
That's enough numbers.
Somebody's over here. why you just say my social security number? Your number 000112222. I'm so sorry. I really am.
I think you should have been dead a long time ago.
You probably should turn around and ask for a new number.
Well, I mean, can't be any worse than my license. My actual driver's license, in the middle of it has 666 in it.
Well, that's good. That's not good at all.
No, not at all.
But you're right. You're right. It's like having people who, and this is going to be kind of where we're going today, because like I said, we want to talk about the school shooting because it is relevant, but at the same time, this is a good example of cops doing their job. But there's a reason why these cops did their job, and what makes them good cops.
It wouldn't be because they have high morals, would it?
Well, the morality is going to play a part, but there's some things biblically speaking that we'll talk about too, because again, morals and the Bible and God all come to play, right?
Wait, what about Jesus, Holy Spirit?
Oh, yeah, we're talking about the whole thing, right? So when we get to this point, though, in this subject,
there's a joke there. We all know it.
We talk about law. And we talk about law enforcement. And so this episode and the next episode, we're really going to be talking more about those entities together. But when you're talking about that, law is supposed to be
the law.
Law is supposed to be the governing force, but it's got to be based on moral ethic, right? So you got to have a code of ethics or a code of morals that you're basing it off of. And so there's only one moral code or decider of what's
there's only one way to have a moral code.
Well, yeah, but
despite the fact, forget that. Yes, there is
the author of morals.
There's the author, but
God.
the only way to have morals is because of God.
Is to know God.
End of story.
Right, is to know God, and to know His Word, but
to know Him more.
And so when you look at this and you look at law enforcement is a body, okay, an entity that is in charge of knowing the difference between right and wrong, right? And how can I say this? All right, well, cops are trained to do it, right? Mm-hmm. It's part of their training. It's part of the police academy.
If they don't have a conscience.
When we were kids, you remember Hogan's Alley?
Yeah.
Remember Hogan's Alley?
No.
You don't remember Hogan's Alley? It was an old Nintendo game. It was a gun game. You had the zapper or whatever, right? And Hogan's Alley, all you did was you stare at the screen, and there's like buildings and all this stuff, and you'll see like a bad guy pop out of the window with a gun, and you got to shoot the bad guy with the gun. But then you'll see like a girl holding a baby pop out of another window. Well, you don't shoot the baby and the girl. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to know the difference.
Is there a reason why little Susie needed to be shot?
So when
quantum physics book.
That was a good reference. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. That was a good deep pull. That was a good deep one. But when you back in the day, right? This was easy. You know what I mean? You could easily tell the difference between a bad guy and a good guy.
Yeah.
Well, cops are trained to do that. In high tense situations, they're supposed to be able to react and respond
in 3 seconds
and
or less.
knowing the difference between what is good and what is bad. They need to recognize evil when they see it, and they need to do something about it instantly, right? The other side of this is
it's tough to put that donut down to go chase the bad guy.
Look, man. Look. If I didn't drive by a Dunkin' Donuts and see like 4 cop cars in it every day, I wouldn't believe it was true. But it's sad. Sometimes it is true. But that's not the point. The point is that they also have another code that they live by, right? Which is a biblical code, which is laying one's life down for another.
Yep.
Right. Part of the code of being a cop is that you are putting your life at risk for those that can't.
Yep.
Or wouldn't do so otherwise, right? In Uvalde, that's what we were upset about. Yeah. The whole job that you have is to go into the fire and Uvalde, deal with something because you're being paid. First of all, you're being paid by the taxpayer to go do it, but that's not even the point. The point is that when you join the force and you decided to be a cop, you recognize that as a value. That it meant something to you to actually serve your community by putting your life at risk for those who can't.
In Uvalde, they didn't put themselves at risk. They were glad to lay your children's lives down.
And it took a guy from the outside, an off-duty cop, to go in there and do it for them.
No, not a cop. He was an off-duty
security guy.
No. He was an off-duty border patrolman who walked across the street to a bar I think it was a bar or it was a pawn
All
shop.
I know is that a cop
And he
didn't
got
do
a
it.
gun. He got a gun.
All I know is a cop didn't do it.
Walked past the cops and took care of it.
I just know a cop didn't do it.
I mean,
Wait. But they arrested the parents trying to go in and save the kids.
Look,
But let's just get what was right here.
right.
They arrested the parents.
Right, I understand, and this is you're making my point, right, about the moral wrong and the moral right. So where was the evil, right? The evil in that in Uvalde, the evil was the shooter in the school and the cops,
Mm-hmm.
and they're supposed to be the ones that are be able to tell the difference between good and evil when they themselves are already participating in the evil. Then the moral.
Oh, but wait, they had really well sanitized hands.
Look, the moral code is no longer being used.
Nope.
Right? So this is a problem. And this is why we are saying why God needs to be brought back into law enforcement, because you obviously have lost sight of who your creator is, why he's important, and why the value of God in law enforcement is paramount, because without him, you don't know the difference between good and evil.
Yeah.
And so you become a product of it, which is what it is now, because police are basically an extension of the government. And if you think your government's good, stay tuned. But that's the point.
I mean, he's preaching over here.
I'm not trying to, but that's the point.
Well, the sad fact is that for too long, we have allowed not only the government to say what is good and evil, to also say what is law, to also say what these things are supposed to be based upon. We've allowed them to do that. We've also allowed for cops to not do their job. And by way I say that we've allowed it to happen is because several times when cops have not done their jobs, like in Uvalde, and there's been other cases,
or when a cop goes rogue and shoots some innocent kid on the street, that's
when they
I'm pulling them all out.
When they try to sue the cops, who they, what's the old adage? They say cops are here to serve and protect. Well, according to the Supreme Court in the 80s and the 90s, back when, it was kind of a lefty-leaning type of Supreme Court, they said that...
You're getting into the next week. Man.
Yeah, I know, but this leads into this one.
Fine.
They said that it wasn't a cop's job. The only time that it was a cop's job to serve and protect you was when you were in custody.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, because that's not the way we designed our law enforcement originally.
Well, look back what created where did police come from, right? What does the word cop mean? It's a citizen on patrol. That's what it means. And so generally cops, what created the system or the whole police agency was towns, literally towns, have citizens in the town, in the community that wanted to protect.
They were known as marshals,
cops
sheriffs.
Now, real cops, you want to know who the real cops are? Neighborhood Watch. They're better cops than the actual cops in certain places, right? Where you can carry.
Can now in Jersey.
Right. Well, I'm just saying where you can carry a neighborhood watch is a better cop than an actual cop. Now, in general, I'm saying that to say that the point of it is that when you have a moral, just, right person with a handgun, okay, who knows the definitive difference between good and evil.
AR-15.
Well, I'm not. Look, I don't even need a baton. I don't care. You give me a baton. I don't care.
Give me a lightsaber.
Give me a baseball
I want a
bat.
lightsaber.
I don't care. It doesn't matter, right? You have a person who has a moral compass that is grounded in God and recognizes the difference between good and evil. And they see somebody doing something that is like, I don't know, breaking into a convenience store at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. And you're out and you see that and you got a baseball bat and you go in there and you just straight up walk in and go, what's going on? And you have a baseball bat and that person turns around and tries to run and you clip him out from his legs and you just grab him up and hold on to him. You're the
Citizen's
criminal.
arrest, baby.
No, but you're the criminal.
No, nowadays, yes. I mean, heck,
you're the criminal because you enacted a hate crime. What hate crime? Well, you believe in God, right? Oh yeah. Well, this person's an atheist and he has like 27 pronouns, and you just hit him in his vagina. Did you just say his vagina? That's a hate crime.
I mean,
and now you go into jail because you protected that business and helped that business owner not lose his business. You're the bad guy. Well, and that's the problem.
And the other thing is that let's just say there was nobody there to stop the criminal from breaking into this.
They don't get in trouble.
No.
They get released.
Say this person goes in, they break into the store. In doing so, they
tripped and fell.
they tripped, fell, cracked their head open, needed to go to the hospital and get stitches. Now they can turn around and sue the store owner.
Yeah.
Because they were there after hours when it was closed. Welcome to New Jersey. Now, I don't know how every other state is. I know there are some states, with.
But if it was New York, they just let them back out afterwards, so you could do
as
it
long
again.
as they stole under $900 worth of stuff.
My thing too
No, you
is
just
when
let
you're
it back
talking
out.
about
Oh wait, that's
Bringing-
California is the under 900.
you're talking about bringing God back into the law enforcement.
Right.
Well, how many of these awful things have we heard about cops not doing their job? Right.
Yep.
Imagine if that was a firefighter. Imagine a firefighter went up to a house fire and was like, "No, I don't feel like it, or it's too dangerous. I don't want to go in." You never hear
EMTs,
about that,
EMTs.
right? EMT's not one that saves somebody's life
You want-
because it's too icky or disgusting or whatever.
Right.
I'm
that
gonna-
would be shunned upon. Why
Yep.
is not that same?
No, it wouldn't be anymore.
right.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Because if they said the fire offended them, they weren't going to go in there and play with it.
No, I understand what you're saying, right?
In
It
the
seems,
past,
it
that would be-
seems what we are pointing out to us is lunacy and
It
ridiculous.
absolutely is.
But what's happening is the society as a whole is being desensitized to believing this is the new norm. And that's really where this problem
That's
is.
a huge problem.
It's a huge problem. And so when you see things like these school shootings, right,
Yep.
and you see police doing nothing or not doing their jobs, or you see an officer who sees a kid and instead of just, asking
Talking
the
to
kid
him.
questions, talking to him or whatever,
Shoots
they
him.
pull a gun out, and then when things get itchy, the gun goes off somehow, and that guy's killing a young kid who didn't deserve to be shot. That happens too much. You have cops abusing their power. You have cops doing heinous crimes like planting drugs on people. You have cops that are,
Thieves.
stealing from people. You have cops that are, my favorite, and still to this day, my number one biggest grudge of all time is when you or I do about maybe 5 miles an hour over the speed limit. We get pulled over and we get a nice shiny bill that we have to pay their nice little police bureau because after all, they're needing money for something and they're not getting it through handouts. So they give you a ticket, right? But that same cop the next day will turn his sirens on, blaze past a red light, doing 85 miles an hour, get past the red light, turn his lights off, and then just keep cruising.
Yep.
To no emergency, to no reason, to no nothing.
Just
Abuse of
skip away.
power.
Yep.
Abuse of power.
Absolutely abuse of power.
And-
or what about this happened a couple years ago in our area in Gloucester County. It might have been more than a couple years ago. But a cop car flying down the road. And now he was on his way to a crime scene. This is true. Flying down the road. Didn't have his lights on. Did not have them on. Nailed somebody. Killed somebody in another car. Okay.
It's horrible.
They took the cop to they took him to court. They wanted him thrown in jail, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
Not going to happen.
Didn't happen because they said that cops turning on their lights is out of courtesy. They don't have to.
That's absurd.
Right, but it doesn't even matter.
That's absurd.
That's what I'm saying.
It's absurd.
Now, if he was a
again,
real cop, he'd have turned himself in.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'd have pled guilty.
And this is,
But he's not a real cop.
This is the point, right? And so what we beg to ask the question today, and what brings this all to a head, is we're saying that we need to bring God back into law enforcement. First and foremost, it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
You know what?
when people say defund the police, I don't want to defund the police.
I want to rework it.
But I want them to be properly trained, and I want part of that training
You know what I miss?
to be a value system of moral code.
You know what I miss?
And if
I
you
miss
don't fit the moral code, you're not a cop.
You know what I miss? I miss cops that actually used to go to church.
Well, that's what I mean. Like part of the hiring process is going to be, where do you stand in this code of ethics? Where do you stand with God? Where do you stand on the battlegrounds of good and evil?
I'm going to give a quick look into this. Years ago, in the 90s, there was I don't know if you want to call it a revival or whatever you want to call it, that was happening in Pensacola, Florida. Spirit of God was moving. I won't put it that way. Spirit of God was moving in Pensacola, Florida. And so much so that when people would leave this house of worship after being prayed for or worshiping God or whatever, they would almost seem drunk, right? But they weren't. They were just so filled with the Holy Spirit. It was but they had to get home. They wouldn't give these people tickets. They'd ask them what bar did you come from? I didn't. I came from whatever the name of the church was, and they let them go home. Well, this one time they caught these 2 criminals, and instead of taking them to jail, they eventually did, but they first took them to that church in Pensacola. They got saved, and then they went to jail. And they served their time, and they came out, and as far as I understand it, they were better human beings for it. But those cops they knew that for these guys to be reformed, they needed to get face to face with God. There was a morality of it. They knew that only God could truly change them. Not sitting in a jail cell for 10 years. That's a punishment. That's not really going to change them. When you got punished and got put in a corner, did that really change any of you?
Prisons are now a reward.
You get 3 hots and a cot, and you can get a college education, you watch cable,
and food and cable,
and you get a gym membership.
You can gamble, and you get cigarettes and all that good stuff.
Why is there even homeless people? Just do something wrong, you go to jail and get a free bed.
I mean,
well, no, because it depends on you might get kicked out of jail because nowadays it's.
I mean,
the more heinous the crime, the easier it is for you to get out.
Just send you back to New York.
So COVID, we're just going to let you all out now.
But listen, you're right. And you know what? When we're talking about this, and again, I don't have the history book on cops in churches and cops that but they used to believe in God and don't believe in God.
Yes, the old adage is the old adage is that cops were mainly Catholic.
Well,
okay, that was a big thing. And you watch a lot of older movies from the 80s and 90s. The cop is usually Catholic. Even if in the movie they're talking about crooked cops, that cop still goes to church on Sunday with his family. Or it's something that has always been it's just something a stereotype that's been portrayed. That's why they call them mix and stuff like that. That they were Catholics. But I grew up with cops in the church that I went to. I knew security guards. I went to church with security guards for prisons. Very moral men that wanted to truly help people get their life right, not just arrest them or punish them for all this stuff. Like, you did the crime, so now you need to do the time. Yes. But what could they would pray with you. They would try to talk with you. They'd try to stay in touch with you. They would try to minister to you. They'd try to mentor you because they knew that, okay, you have to serve the punishment. There's a punishment. You did something wrong. But that doesn't mean that when you come out, you go right back to doing that again. You could be better than that. You were made to be better than that by a God who created you. So they saw that, and that's what they wanted to do. We're missing that now.
Well, definitely missing it. But here's the catch, and part of this big approach that I'm proposing is more or less a guide. And I like to speak truth in the matter, and I like to use references. So the first part I'm going to point out is that because, and you mentioned this already, there are these examples that we can pull from where, we've seen the good cop, right? We've seen good cops and that moral code, right? But when you have a system, a government, okay, that they are in bed with. So the lawmakers, right? The people who make the laws, they're now the upholders of the laws. And if they turn around and they look at the law and they go, well, that's morally wrong. Are you going to uphold it, or are you going to stand for the moral right and wrong? Right? So hear me out. This is where this problem starts.
Yeah.
And so in order to really diagnose the problem, you got to look at things from a bigger picture perspective, right? Cops are really the groundwork. They're the
hands and feet.
They're the hands and feet. So they're the ones that really are the last leg of this moral approach.
Wait,
and if they're not
feet, how are they the last leg?
Please don't. If they're not holding it right, if they're not holding the line, if they're not towing the moral right code, then it's gone.
Yep.
It's gone. It doesn't go any further because everything after that basically means, for example, right? You go to church on Sunday and you're in your church and you're worshiping God, and they come into your church and they say, everybody out, you're all under arrest. What'd you do wrong?
What are we talking about? 2020?
You're just worshiping in your house of worship, right? You're allowed to be in your house of worship. It's my God-given right in this free
constitutional
country.
right.
If it's constitutional right. Don't you know your governor said you're not allowed to meet during this time of a pandemic, and they come in and arrest you.
He did it in Canada. They did it in parts of this country.
Did it in parts of this country.
They tried to do it here, but he got wally-whopped when he tried that.
I'm just saying this to point out that the issue is when they don't, that is because there is a complete absence of the moral code in that entity. And they're no longer looking at the values of what God says is morally right and wrong. They're looking at the lawmaker and following what they say.
Yep.
And so you got to go now to that next point, right? Which is, okay, the government. Does the government know what's morally right and wrong? I think they should. I think they sure do. I just don't think they care.
No, they don't.
They want to induce evil. They want to induce chaos. They want to induce all these things. They want to confuse your children. They want to confuse you. They want to confuse the masses. And so they make laws, silly laws. So that their cronies go and do their bidding for them and enforce these silly laws that muddle the lines between what's right and wrong, and then leave you to pay the price.
Yep.
Okay.
Like arresting pastors.
What could I possibly be pulling from to bring this to light? Well, I'm going to bring the scripture up because it's important. John 18. This guy, you might know him. His name's Jesus.
Pretty cool dude.
Yeah,
okay. He gets arrested. And he gets brought before this guy named Pilate. Now, I don't know. Do you know who he is? Who Pilate is?
I mean, he's quite Pontius.
He's basically the governor. So that would be like my buddy over here.
Actually, I think he's more of a mayor, but yeah.
We'll just call him a governor. He's political representation of the king, who at the time was Caesar. Okay, keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. He gets brought to him. Right? So it's like my buddy here getting FaceTime with his best buddy, Murphy.
Best buddy.
Okay?
One could only wish.
And he goes in there and he stands up and he says this. Pilate says, "You're a king then." Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." The purest entity of knowing the difference between good and evil meets the governor and tells him that he is here and came to testify to truth.
Yep. That's it. Just testify to truth.
Now, that implies something.
That he knows truth.
Well, first of all, the word testify usually implies what? When do you hear testimonies?
In court.
In court, right?
Or
during a trial,
on Sunday.
Right? Church on Sunday, right? Not that testimony, right? So, but you hear testimonies, you hear them in court, right? On when there's a trial. And so, what's on trial? Truth is on trial.
Yep.
And Jesus came to testify to the veracity of truth.
Yep.
That truth was in jeopardy. He knew it. And he came right to the face of the governor and basically told him that what you are doing is you're messing with the truth.
Yep.
You're messing with the truth. And the people demand the truth. And the truth will always be under demand. But what the king at the time, and this is history, so you don't need to question it, was managing the truth. How? Well,
by force.
Did they say you couldn't have any religious worship? No. But guess what they did? They chose certain actors to basically control how that worship was conducted. Did Jesus get along with those guys?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Pharisees, the Sadducees.
Nope. Why?
Anything.
Because they were not morally conducting themselves according to the truth. They were morally conducting themselves according to themselves and to the king. And so what you have is a bastardization of what the truth is. Look familiar? This is the same thing your government's doing today.
Yep.
And so I'm bringing this up to show you that Jesus, the Bible, is telling us exactly what we are actually in right now, which is a problem where truth is in jeopardy, where the truth of whether or not your kids are male and female, the truth of whether or not this country was founded when?
1776.
I'm sorry, it's not 1619?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You're positive.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Okay. Truth. But that's not what you're getting. You're getting untruth. You're getting false. You're getting lies. And all this is going to perpetuate into a steamroll effect where then the lawmakers are creating laws based on truth.
Nope.
Truth?
No.
Lies.
Wait, hold on. But we made a law that said you can kill your baby in its womb, right? Because after all, it's not really a baby.
Based off of a lie.
Is that true? Doesn't
Well,
sound
what you
true.
said is true. That's how it happened.
I mean, but is it a fact that that's not a living being inside?
Nope.
No, it is.
It is absolutely a living, not quite breathing,
Do you
but
see?
growing child.
Do you see how what they're doing is they're sabotaging and destroying truth? And what they're doing is they're creating laws that go against truth. And then they're telling the police
To
right?
enforce them.
to enforce it. But hear me out. If the cop, the police officer, knew the truth, do you think they'd listen? You're talking about the current police force.
Yes.
I understand.
If we had
We
a
are
police
talking
force-
about putting God back in the police
All right,
force.
let me put it
And
this
so
way.
hear me out.
If we
You
had
either
to-
have a
wait,
holy
wait,
fear.
hold
Hold
on.
on. You either have a holy fear of God or you have a holy fear of man. I don't want guys in office. I do not want guys wearing that badge that have a holy fear of man. If you're afraid of man, step down.
Let me ask,
Throw your badge in.
This one you should know.
Throw your
Steve.
badge in now.
This one you should know, Steve. If say around here we had police officers that were like the sheriff down in Florida.
Yes. I know that one
I
very
know that
well.
guy. Yeah, he's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
He's good.
Say we had him.
Yes.
Do you think he would be okay
Oh,
with these things?
not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
So,
Okay.
so you can see, and hear me out. We can see good cops.
Yes.
We've seen them. I've seen good cops. I've talked to good cops. And you want to know something? The good cops are not the ones that would have to worry about their jobs now, would they?
Nope.
You want to
No.
know why? Because they would stand up against it, or they have stood up against it. The matter of fact, I want to commend every single police officer who lived or was a cop in a state that basically they looked at and said, I'm not doing that, and handed in their badge. Oh, that actually happened
Yep.
in a lot of Democrat states.
New
Why?
York happened in
Because
New York.
they're not going to go against the moral ethic code of God said, that's not okay. Truth. They see the truth and they go, I'm not doing it. Does
That's
it
the way it's
have
supposed to
to?
be.
Does it have to go as far as we're going to send cops into a church to kill a bunch of worshipers because, after all, they're dangerous to society? But that guy over there who's robbing a convenience store, he's good to go. Let him keep killing a bunch of Asians because, after all, we don't care about Stop Asian Hate. Really, it's just a meme.
Or what about? Oh no, I lost my point. Dang nabbit.
See, Stop Asian Hate always gets in the way. Man. Always does.
No, what about a law enforcement body arresting a Catholic pastor or priest at his family's house with like 20 officers, guns drawn,
Gestapo! You're the Gestapo! Get out of my house!
kicking down the door.
That guy
not
needs a
him,
medal.
Not him.
No, that's
But-
the Canadian guy.
that's
He
the
needs a
Canadian
medal. And he wasn't, I was going to say, he wasn't Catholic.
No. But this guy was arrested for a crime that the state that he lives in threw it out because what he did was him and his church and some people from his church and his son were outside of an abortion clinic. They were across the street, so they weren't even anywhere near the door because that's the law. You can't do it in front of the door.
Can't block.
So they were
access.
across the street.
Yeah.
They were across the street praying. They weren't even really protesting. They were across the street praying.
How dare they?
and offering anybody who wanted to talk to them,
How dare
offering them
they?
advice and help.
How dare you?
Whoa. Here's why they
Put
arrested
your
him.
hand back.
Sorry.
You're touching the lens soon.
Here's why they arrested him. Somebody who worked in the abortion mill came out and started grabbing and pushing his son, underage son.
That's assault.
This Catholic priest or pastor, whatever he is,
Okay.
pushed the guy.
Nope.
Can't do that.
Nope. Can't do that.
That was it to get him off his son, to
Can't do
protect his
that.
son. And they went in with
Shame.
20 or more armed FBI agents.
No, they're not cops.
Well, they're supposed to be federal
Look, I've
cops.
seen them at the January 6th
letting everybody
insurrection.
in. Letting everybody
yeah,
in.
No, they were there cheering
Giving
them on. They were
giving tour guides.
No, they were in there. They were in there telling everybody that they should go in there and they should.
Well, no, they were giving the
was that Epps guy, right?
It was the Epps guy. But they were also giving the QAnon shaman. They were
They were
giving
giving
him a tour. They were
Let them
giving
all
him
the
a
way
tour.
in.
Let them all the way in.
Walk them through. Past
Showing them
security.
everything. Showing them everything. You know, this door's open. This door's
Yeah, that
open.
guy's real dangerous.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And then
Let's lock him up for eternity
wait,
and pretend
wait,
he never
wait.
existed.
You know what? You know what crime the QAnon shaman did? You know what he did? Oh, that's right. He prayed and thanked God for the cops that were so nice to him and helped him through the building.
Yeah.
That's what he did. That's the crime he did. He prayed to God.
That's not the crime he did. He didn't do a crime. That's the point.
Exactly.
That's actually the problem.
But you've got police officers that are being told by the government
Right.
to arrest the innocent so that the guilty and the criminals can run rampant.
So, before we close out.
Close out.
Yeah, man. We're getting close to an hour. I'm
Close
not
out.
going to let you talk for another 50 minutes.
Oh, we could go for another 2 hours. Come
Yeah,
on.
Obviously,
Yeah,
I
I
know
know.
that.
But before we let you guys go, I don't want to sit here and bring up something and be like, oh, well, we're just going to complain about it. We're not going to do anything about it. What do? Actually, this is one of those areas you can do a lot. See, the cool thing about being a cop, it doesn't take much. You just actually got to want to do it.
Yeah, it takes a college degree now, supposedly.
It doesn't take a lot. You just want to. You just got to want to
see what
go
you do
and
is-
join the police academy, and you want to serve your people. You want to serve your community. You want to serve those who are around you in a scriptural manner, putting your life down for those that can.
And we get it. Not everybody can do that.
And that's not that. Look, it's just like the military, right? Not everybody is suited and fit to wear those colors
And
and
not
go
everybody
and
has
fight
to.
for this country. And
No.
that's the thing. Not everybody needs to. But what I'm going to say
We
this,
just need a few good men.
what I'm going to say this is this. We need to have those who believe in God, have a holy fear of God, getting in there, and we need to have a cleaning house of those that don't.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
And that's actual police reform. Not the
Yep.
crap that they're telling you on their soapboxes in their Oval Offices. Not something that Grandpa Joe is going to get up there and talk about later, this week while he's, reading his cue cards and stumbling over it.
And
No,
trying to find his chocolate ice cream.
no, it's not going to be them. They don't know anything because they can't do it.
Yep.
But those who can do it and do it, they're the ones who know. They know what it's all about. But I will say this much. Those ones that are up in their offices, they think police reform is cutting funding, getting rid of their magazine sizes,
Oh wait. What about
de-weaponizing,
What about citizen?
defund the police.
What about citizen social workers?
Yes, and therapy dogs, and counselors that they need to protect with bulletproof vests, but they don't get them. Right? This is the defund the police movement. No, you don't need any of that.
Actually,
And
quite
hold on.
frankly, I say defund
And-
the police.
and you
But
wanna
if
know
you're going to
something?
do that, give everybody a
You want
gun.
to know something? I heard this too. Well, you can't expect cops to be all of those things. Yes, I
Yes,
can.
we can.
Absolutely, we can.
Do you want to know
It's called
why?
a standard.
No, do you want to know why? Because every Bible-believing Christian on this earth does it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard to love your enemies. It's not hard to love people. It's not hard to love another human being and be compassionate and kind and caring. It takes literally nothing to do it. But you're being raised in a society that tells you that's evil, that's bad. Don't do that. Shout your pronouns. Shout your vagina. Shout your whatever.
Shout your truth.
Okay? Shout that stuff. But don't love them, hate them. Hate is good. Hate is energy. Hate is fuel. Rage.
But they're the most inclusive.
That's not what it takes. It takes love. It takes compassion.
It takes real love, and the only way to have real love is to know the one who
God
is love,
right.
and that is God.
Right, and you know what? To be a cop then is just some training, some time at a range, and knowing the law, right?
How to put the handcuffs on.
Yeah, and now how to actually treat human beings as human beings.
Yep.
And that's actually what's required.
Yeah.
And so get rid of the ones that don't care. Get rid of the ones that are just collecting a paycheck. Get rid of the ones that are waiting for their pension. Get rid of the ones that are only doing it for the attaboys. They don't belong there. They're just pencil pushers. They're just going to do what the guys up top tell them to do.
Well, that's not a pencil pusher. They're a gopher.
Right?
Go get me more tickets.
We need the ones that love God. We need the ones that care to be cops.
Yep.
Those are the ones that should be out there. And guess what? Once that starts happening, it doesn't matter what the guys up top say, because the guys down below are going to laugh them out, and they're going to keep doing what they know is morally right, and that's what you need as a citizen. You need that reinforcement. How much better do you think a revolution, which we might be on the cusp of,
national
would
divorce.
be if every police agency in the entire United States of America turned around, looked at their governing body and said, we're with them, we're not with you.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard for them to march down the military and come and tell them, oh, we're taking over martial law.
What are we talking about, military?
Well, I mean, that's what they would have to do.
Most of the military,
because they own them.
Well, no, most of the soldiers.
Oh, no. They wouldn't. Some of them would probably revolt against that, I'd hope. But
Most
some
of
of
the
them might
soldiers
actually
will.
follow the law, follow the governing bodies. Some of them.
What?
Some of them.
What?
Probably the ones that need to do modified push-ups.
or four-star first ever female four-star admirals.
Whoa. Don't dead name him. I love my job.
Me too.
It's so much easier to just live in truth, isn't it? It's so much better. It's so much better.
And you know what? It also begins with, Gary, you're absolutely right. It does start with getting those people that want God to be, and that God tells to be cops, to become cops.
Yep.
But you know what helps that to happen even more? Got to start praying, people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You got to start praying, because there may be good police officers that can't that
they're getting pinched.
They're getting pinched,
Yep.
and they need your prayer. They need your support.
Amen.
And it doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to be any of that.
Yep.
They need your moral support. Oh, big topic here, morality. They need your moral support. They need your prayers, and they need to know that if they go against those that are above them, that
You got their backs.
back, because they've got yours.
Yep.
And until people start to rise up and realize, forget all the crap that's being shoveled. Let's just get to the roots of it all. Let's work together. Let's be the people that our forefathers thought that this country could be full of, which is people that love God, that have high morals because of God, and are running this country in a way that only God could.
That's right.
And until that happens, it's only going to get worse. But we need each other to make it happen.
That's right. And so
Absolutely need everybody to make it happen. So
at the corner of church and state, brother.
I say that all to say that if you have, speaking of prayer,
Yep.
if you have any prayer requests,
We take them.
Go to the website, or go into
Your
my
link tree, right?
link tree. My
Yep.
link tree. Go into, find the church and state, the corner of church and state email address. Type in your prayer request, and we'll pray with you. We may not do it on the air, but we will definitely be doing it in our own time. And we will
Prayer's a powerful weapon.
Also, if you're sending prayer requests, like you need God to move in a certain area, we would also like to hear when he moves in that area.
Let us know when the good news comes.
Because just like we want to be there to pray for you, we want to be there to rejoice with you when God brings fruition.
Amen.
Whatever his answer may be. Also, while you're on that link tree, you can catch me on the face of my book. I don't go on the TikTok anymore.
Thank you.
I don't. I do the Clapper. Clapper's not on there, but that's just because I go there to rant. That's where I get my where things that I can't say here, I can say there.
And you shouldn't say in front of me. I'm sure.
No, there's no foul language. Nope, not on Clapper. Not on Clapper.
So I have to get myself a Clapper account. Check you out.
Nope. TikTok, there was lots of it. That's why I have like 2 accounts.
I'm glad you're
that I'm not even using.
Good.
Twitter contact me on Twitter. Those you can also see where I go after Joe Biden, Murphy, and all them, and I say some things there that
you can say it now.
I can say it now. Where Murphy was getting banned for it before. But so you can go all there. What you can also do between now and the next episode, which is in 2 weeks, is that you can go down to the like button wherever you're consuming this, whether it be audio
Rumble
or
button.
visual.
Hit that smash.
You hit that like button. You also hit that subscribe button. Beep, beep, boop, boop. You hit the share button, and you share it to everybody you know, whether they're conservative or not. Because
if you don't have a soundboard, I'll be your soundboard.
Right?
Get there. We're getting there.
I'll be your huckleberry.
As we get more money. Maybe with this new job that I have, more money means more
problems.
Yeah, that's
what I heard.
More money, more problems. Also means maybe we can get more toys for the podcast, which probably could bring more problems.
Maybe we can get something that actually runs the sound a little bit better so we don't have these little problems.
Like a better USB cord.
No, like an actual soundboard that's running.
That too. Yeah, sure.
No. I get you. I hear you. Thank you for the suggestion. It's been duly noted.
So if anybody would like to donate, just let us know down below.
If you want to donate, if you want to help us out,
do that too. I think
we have yet to put a video up on that Patreon. We keep.
But we do have it.
We have it.
People can donate through Patreon, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know any of this techie stuff.
Neither do I. I'm faking it till eventually we make it. But anyway. That all being said,
so we're hiring for somebody who does know what they're doing.
With a low
price of nothing.
Somebody who wants to donate their time to help us out, we would very much enjoy that. But I digress. This is the Corner of Church and State.
Yep.
We are here to say what needs to be said. We don't care who we offend, but we will love everybody because God loves everybody. We just ain't putting up with just shenanigans.
He said shenanigans.
And next time.
In 2 weeks,
yes,
which will be April something or other.
You don't know how to count?
Now you're going to make me do it.
Well, it's April because we ain't going to be in this month.
Probably April 13th or April. No, that's false because the 15th is a Saturday. So
it'd be the 11th.
April 11th is the next episode. I added too many days.
Carry the one.
I was doing core math. I'm sorry. Anyway, April 11th, our next episode, we will be talking about bringing God back. The final part of this, part 4, we will be talking about SCOTUS, bringing God back to the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States.
There you go.
So be here, be square. Invite people. We would love to see you on the stoop that is the Corner of Church and State.
That's it.
So y'all have a good one. God bless. Take care. And see you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or labor rules, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying.